Be careful laughing at someone else's downfall because you might be looking at the lesson that God is trying to teach you. And sometimes someone else's mistake isn't entertainment, it's a warning.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation, nor from the weakness that will cause us to stumble and fall. When you laugh at somebody else's fall, white or black, rich or poor, your enemy or your friend, you're laughing and opening a way for your own demise when you do that. Because to laugh and not learn, to make mockery and not to understand, is to make the same mistake yourself.
What up, world? Welcome to another episode of RMT, That's Real Man Talk. It's your boy, Standeth Man, coming to you with another great conversation piece on today. And before we get started, I want to thank you for joining me here on RMT. All right? That video right there by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, it states about things that we often go through. Don't laugh at another man's downfall. Learn from it. When you see another man lose his marriage, his money, his career, his reputation, or even his freedom, don't make entertainment out of it. Study what went wrong. We tend to want to dogpile on top of someone when they down. Soon as a man get in the headlines, soon as he go viral on social media, then all of a sudden everybody want to make all these videos, all these posts about I told you so, and this will go on. We got gossip blogs that digging into his hole, think they know the person. And I'm not saying that they know the person or they don't, but one thing you have to do is step back and think about, man, I wonder what did he do for people to do all this? What could he have done to avoid what happened? But a lot of times we don't do that. As men, we want to jump right in without having all the information. Sometimes you don't even know the whole story, or someone could possibly be lying just to slander his name, and that man just taking the high road and chilling out because all the information is not out. Yeah, it's a select few people that know what the truth is, but he knows the truth, but he don't want to reveal the truth right now because he's like, you know what? I ain't going to worry about it. I'm either going to have my day in court or I get a chance when all of the information is revealed, then I can clear myself. Or are you one of those men that wants to just jump on the bandwagon and immediately have something to say about somebody when they fall or when they slip up or when something bad happened to them? See, a wise man doesn't have to make every mistake himself. Sometimes God lets you see somebody else's mistakes so you can learn without paying the price. It takes wisdom as you continue to move up and to take information that's before you, be able to process it and apply it to your life. Only a fool would take and see mistakes or things that people have done, and then you say, you know what? I don't need that information because I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Okay, you can. But think about this. Your time is coming. Your time is coming. Never think you're above making a mistake. One of the most dangerous attitudes that a man can have is, that could never be me. Man, that couldn't be me. That wouldn't happen to me. You ever heard somebody like just saying, for instance, like if they going through something, they having a discussion with somebody, just say they having issues going on in their life, and they be like, man, that was me. Man, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. Yes, it's easy for us to say what we'll never do when you've never been in that situation. Because the right woman, the right money, the right attention, anger, pride, temptation, or pressure can expose weakness that you never knew you had. I know Bizzle, he got a song that he said that I never been tempted on that level. He was talking about guys that got millions of dollars, and he said he never been tempted on that level. See, you have been tempted on the level that you are at. So it's easy to say when you're not dealing with multi-millions in your account. So it's easy to say what you'll do with a couple of thousand in your account. It's easy to say when you're dealing with one woman, you don't have access to multiple women to choose from. You don't have that access. So it's easy to say what you'll do. It's easy to say when you have all this money, you have all this power, you have this attention, and you say, well, I'm not going to be that type of person. It's easy to say if you never had that. A lot of people got opinions about people's lives and stuff that they never experienced, but they got so much to say about this person when you never experienced or you never been in their position. So you speaking from a standpoint on where you at, on your level of temptation, on your level of things that have happened. Because right now, you might not have a huge following, you might not have, and so if you get angry, if you say something or you post something that's out the way, it might not be taken no type of way. Because you're not in the spotlight. You're not making multi-million. It's not, you don't have a lot of followers. So what you post or what you might say might not have the same effect as somebody that has been on TV, somebody that's social media, somebody that has been making movies, somebody that's had all this influence, superstars. You might not have that. So it's easy for you to say, that couldn't be me. I wouldn't do this. I won't do that. But, and I'll say this before I get to my next point. Be careful laughing at another man's weakness when you haven't been tested by what tested him. Be careful. Yeah, because you laughing now because I have been, let me put myself in that equation. I have been in a situation where I talked about somebody else, right? I'm not going to say the situation, but I talked about them. And I said, man, I wouldn't have did that if I was them. Guess what? I got put in that same exact situation. And I ended up doing the same thing they did. Then I understood why they did what they did. See, when you're not in that situation, you can't understand why they did what they did. Good or bad. Good or bad. Because you are not in those shoes. So you don't have an understanding if you never been in a similar situation or that exact situation. You can't say, well, I would have did this. Okay. That's how I know. That's how I know a lot of people that haven't been through anything, haven't had to make any tough decisions, never had to cut nobody out, never had to somebody it tarnish your image because of something you said or did, because people don't look up to you. So when it happens to you, yeah, it's easy to say that, but you never been in that position. You never been in that position. Let me say this too. That gets me to my next point. Another man's failure should be a warning. Think about this. Ask yourself this question. What decision started his downfall? If you're thinking it back, you writing this down like, man, what decision, because I'm going into this field, what decision started his downfall? Ask yourself that. Then I got two more questions I want you to ask yourself. The second one is this. What warning signs did he ignore? See, when you said what decision started his downfall, was it because I'm going to just use a woman as an example, right? Was it him hiring that secretary that he's sexually attracted to? He hiring that personal trainer that he's sexually attracted to? He hiring that maid that he's sexually attracted to? Or even if you a supervisor and you hire somebody that you sexually attracted to, is that the start? Because of that decision that you made to do that? Or is it a decision to keep on going places that will put you in a scenario that you could possibly lose everything? You could possibly lose everything. Did that start? Going places that you don't need to go. We all know some places once you get to a certain statute that you don't need to go. We know some places that you don't need to go when you married. You know some places that you don't need to go when you're a multi-millionaire. You shouldn't be going back to the hood and just hanging out and you ain't got security and all that, because there's a lot of jealous folks around. It's a lot of women that want to get in there for your marriage. They want to get pregnant by you to have a baby and be set for the rest of their life. You paying child support. You getting divorced, now you got to pay alimony and child support. It's a lot of guys out there jealous, want you to go to this neighborhood, want you to go to these parties so they can get into it, they can get the fight, now they can sue you for money. Now your name is getting slandered. Some people do stuff, I done saw this before. Some men would do stuff to take you around people to show, well, he ain't really like that. And you ain't got to be no millionaire for that. It's certain guys that don't like you, that they might know something about you. Not that you trying to hide it or nothing like that, but they might know something about you, and they might try to bring you around people to get that out of you, or have them somewhere listening where you don't know to show them that you're not like that. I'm gonna tell you this happened to me, man. Before, I know I was a little green, I was a little naive when I was younger. And so I was high and smoking weed from my dad, right? And so my dad had a reputation of being this good, upstanding man, God-fearing man, and raising God-fearing children, right? So that's what people automatically assume about me, because I wasn't going out and doing a lot of stuff out there. So by that being said, it was a family member that came along, and he had some weed. So he was smoking the weed or whatever. I didn't know, because the windows was tinted, I didn't know he had somebody in the car that was trying to prove a point. Because they thought that I was this good child and, this church, and, that's what they thought about me. So when they saw me smoking the weed, they was like, oh, man, I ain't know he was out there. But that family member had an alt against my father, so they wanted him to look bad, so they used that. And me being green, I'm trusting this family member, thinking that they ain't got nobody in the car. End up finding out that they had somebody in the car. That person went back and said something. My dad said something to me about it. People set you up like that, man, just to tarnish your image. The next one, I'm checking right here in my notes. What warning signs did he ignore? What warning signs are you ignoring right now? See, there's always something that come before. Like, it's you got rappers, you got a lot of rappers that have passed away. And some of the rappers have had warnings on what not to do. Some of these rappers have got shot before. God spared their life. Some of them got robbed before, but they didn't get their life took away from them. And some of them have even went to jail and was able to come out of jail and nothing happened to them. So it's been constant signs that have been warning that don't do this, or you need to do things differently to what you're doing things, but they didn't, and then they lost their life. It's people that you know. It ain't gotta necessarily be no rapper. It's been people that you know that have done things that said, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Maybe, I use myself for a example. Maybe you shouldn't be drinking and driving. Okay, I had a little fender bender. Okay, man, cool. It happens. You drink, you swerving a little bit. Then I had a major wreck where I tore up my car. Tore it up. Okay. Got a DWI. But the thing about it is, like, all those warning signs were coming, so I was like, you know what? Maybe that's something that I need to just quit. I need to quit doing that. Some people don't take those as warning. They think, oh man, that just happened. It's part of it. But then they end up having an accident or having cancer, liver cancer. Those type of things happen. Then you be like, dang, I wish I would have quit earlier. What boundaries? The next one is, what boundaries do I need so I don't end up there? Are you drawing the line somewhere? And what I mean by are you drawing the line somewhere, and you have certain things set up to keep you protected. And the reason I go back and I talk about sports and talk about famous people, because they have account, they have security guards, they got certain parameters set up to protect them financially and their physical body. What you got to set up protect you? Are you on Instagram just scrolling? Are you friends with some of the ex-girls that you might have slept with? You seeing their pictures and you hitting the inbox? Or you even liking and following some of the girls you know you shouldn't be following? You know you ain't got control of your lust, and you know how you are. But instead of setting boundaries, saying, you know what, I'm not going to follow them. I'm not going to be friends with them. I'm not going to go to a certain place where I know that lust can arise in me. I'm not going to do that. You don't do that. So you probably need to stop setting up boundaries to protect yourself. Marking your territory, said, no, you can't come over here. I can't go over there, to keep myself safe. But I said all that to say this. Stop watching people fall for entertainment and start watching so you can gain wisdom. So easy to talk about somebody when they're down. So easy to talk about somebody when you've never been in that position. It's so easy to talk about somebody. It's so easy to talk about somebody when you never walked in their shoes. So next time you see somebody going through a situation, see somebody going through a rough time, give them a little grace and understand that the shoe could be on the other foot. And if it was, what would you do? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, peace.